Many videos in the crypto space cover the crypto news and events, and that's great. We all want to understand the events going on in this space. Here on this channel, we use most our videos to cover something else that for many is far more important. Well, what's more important than crypto news? Well, you see, most come into the crypto space and they want to make amazing gains, and covering the news helps a bit with that. But that is far from the most important thing to be doing with our video watching time. The single best use of our space or our time spent in this space is watching videos that teach us to think like an investor. And for that, you're in exactly the right place. But in this space, only a few make incredible money. And in this space, many lose incredible amounts of money. So why do only some make so much money and then others lose money like crazy and then complain, whine, talk about how stupid crypto is, and even call everything a scam? Well, because those that did well already think like an investor or took the time to think like an investor. Everyone here who has invested in crypto, well, we've all jumped into the very deep waters of the investing world, and many don't even realize it. In this space, some things go 100x or even 1000x. But with that, many things also go close to zero. And yet most in the crypto space didn't and don't even take the time to start to learn to think like an investor. And predictably, it ends poorly for them. They jump in at the wrong time and then sell at the wrong time. They buy projects with low chance of long-term success because they don't know how to analyze projects at a deeper level. If you're here for the news, we cover a bit of that, but you might be in the wrong place for a ton of news items. If you're here to learn to think like an investor, to be an investor, talk about crypto projects with above average chances of success and network with other similar investor-minded people, well then, welcome. You are in exactly the right place. Today we're going to talk about my top 5 picks from where prices are at now. And I'll tell you exactly why I like them. Welcome to the Crypto Rain channel. I'm your host, Jay Rain. And if you like money in crypto and you're looking for a seasoned investor take on the crypto market, join the Rainmaker family. Do note, I'm not a financial advisor. I am a crypto investor myself. I do want to thank our Patreon members, our Rainmaker family. We do have a private Discord that only our Patreon members get access to. We also do have a free Telegram. The link to those are below. Now, if you haven't already, make it rain on that like button and strap in for the show. Want to welcome, this is live, Chris Ashby for jumping in, Tom. Should look at Caspa. It's a super hidden gem for the next bull run. I have not looked at that one. Before we begin, there's 2 thoughts. As a savvy or even new investor that you are, you already must understand that this is not financial advice to you. This is what I like and why I like it. Yes, I own all of these. Why the hell would I be interested in them and not buy them myself? That would be dumb. We all want to be rich, but there are so few willing to do what it takes. So join the Telegram and perhaps even the Patreon, where you can network with other investor-minded crypto people so you can benefit from their thoughts as well. There are lots of amazing people in the Rainmaker family. Now, let's dive into my picks. My number 5 pick, well, if you were to guess and you've been watching my videos, you might already have a clue that I like this one. Let me share my screen here. Quick reminder, if you haven't followed me on Twitter, go ahead and do that. It's at Crypto Rain with 2 N's. And let's jump over to my number 5 pick. And that would be Illuvium. I think most are sleeping on how big the revolution in gaming is going to be with blockchain. It is going to be massive. We got a small dose of that with Axie Infinity's run, last bull run. One of the best, and perhaps it is the best so far, game on the blockchain is Illuvium's Overworld, combined with their Illuvium Zero game, which will be playable on mobile phones too. Now, Illuvium Overworld, Illuvium Zero, and even their Auto Battler, their Teamfight Tactics, still in closed beta, but it is looking extremely good, and they are on track to deliver something very cool to the market next year, likely at a time that the market is going absolutely crazy. Now, to be fair to you and me, I always try to evaluate the risk. There is a risk to the ILV token. Right now, you can't buy it in the US, even on exchanges that sell it other than Uniswap. On Kucoin, they detect a United States IP address, and with that IP address, you won't be able to buy it. That is because the token, I feel, would be likely to be deemed a security by the US Securities and Exchange Commission, because holding it and staking it, you can earn a share of revenues of the game. Well, I think that's a huge positive. The only downside to that is it's okay if things are securities. If you have a Robinhood account, you buy and sell securities all day long. But the US SEC has not made it easy for things to register as a security. And secondly, for there to be an exchange that can exchange registered securities. But I feel that is coming soon. And there's a lot other bigger fish that the SEC is trying to fry that they might not even win before they would even look at Illuvium. But that is a risk. Something I find that makes Illuvium so attractive is this use case for the token that might deem it a security, in that you can stake it and get a percentage of the revenues of the game. How amazing is that? What else I find strongly attractive is that the bear market has been absolutely brutal to Illuvium. The market cap is 153 million. His token price was all the way, this says 1,800. It hit $1,900, and it's come all the way down to $47. Will it go lower? It might. But at this price, it is highly in my personal green buy zone. Anything under $60 to me was a buy on this. So it's well under that. It's been juicy for some nice pickups that I've been making. Just like Cardano last cycle was the buy for me at anything under 6 cents. And I bought a ton under 6 cents, at 5 cents, at 4 cents. I got a whole bunch at 3 cents. Missed the very bottom at 1.7 cents where it bottomed out. Oh, that's all right. Nobody cry for me, because from 3 cents, it went 100x from there. And so this is absolutely in my green buy zone. If you look at it, so 1,800, and you can see it's hit right near this low. It went to $39 before, came back, and it's put in a higher low. Should we be so lucky that it goes down more? I don't know that it will. It seems to want to be going up from here, but maybe there's something that brings altcoins down lower. Possibly Bitcoin runs and people jump out of their altcoins, bringing it a little bit lower. But anything under 60 for me was a great buy zone for my own personal buys. Now, Illuvium will likely be the very first game to incorporate multiple games that are necessary for each other. So for you to fight in the arena team fight tactics game, you will need to go to Illuvium Overworld and capture Illuvatars, or you can buy them from others that do. To travel in the Overworld and to make shards that you use to capture the Illuvials, well, you will need fuel. And fuel is created in the Illuvium Zero game, which will be playable on mobile or computer and has some similarities to Farmville. It's kind of like an industrial Farmville game. It's a resource maximizing and harvesting game, and it is very addicting. You'll be able to sell your fuel you harvest, and that fuel will help drive the Illuvium Overworld economy. Now, nothing like this has really been seen in gaming yet. I invested early in Axie Infinity because I love the idea of video games on the blockchain, this idea of play to earn gaming. I suspect Illuvium is going to be the next evolution, and it's going to be a massive success in the coming 12 to 18 months. Now, I already own an absolute ton of their land, so much I can't even load up Illuvium 0 because it actually fails with the memory because I have like 22 plots of it. And so I'm having to move some over to other wallets so I can even play the beta that's continuing with Illuvium 0. I also own their ILV token and continue to add to my stash at these prices. All right, let me catch up on the comments. S3YU says, make it rain, guys. J Solo 9, what's up, Rain? Justin. All right. And a lot of people catching up with each other. Our Rainmaker family has become what I hoped it would be, which is tight-knit group of smart people doing really good analysis. In fact, one of my runners up actually comes from the community. Okay, if you bought all your OMI before it crashed, do you think you're still in good shape? Yeah, it's going to be a painful ride up. I think it'll exceed the previous highs. I like the prices that they're at now. If I had a big position I bought before it crashed, I don't see why I wouldn't be buying a lot more at the prices now to pull my dollar cost average down tremendously. Let's jump into my number 4 pick, and that's Myria. Now, there were 3 top gainer coins of the last bull run. The number 1 was actually OMI with a 15,000% increase. Then Axie Infinity's token, then Gala Games token. Myria is a recently launched competitor to Gala, and I think Myria is going to be absolutely gigantic. I first heard about Myria 14 months ago, and one of the people behind the scenes that helps solid crypto projects meet all the right people, he messaged me on Telegram that he wanted to chat. He told me about Myria and the team, and he told me it was the most exciting project he had seen in all his time in crypto. He has some very solid credibility with me, and so I was like, well, yeah, I want to talk to them. I want to find out what this is about. What has you so excited? I mean, Gala's got a big head start if they're going to compete with Gala. And he was able to connect me up with the chief marketing officer, but we weren't able to line up a call because the chief marketing officer was leaving for some important family matters in a week. So he put me in touch with Jonathan, and I lined up a call with him. Now, Jonathan was as sharp of a person as I have ever met. Now, you probably had a time where you're talking to somebody and you're like, this person is like magnetic, and there is something amazing about this person. So I'm sitting there on him, and I'm looking up Myria and trying to find the team. Jonathan was extremely humble and low-key, which are traits I often find with extremely successful people. And as we were talking, I had my screen open, was checking everything I could on Myria, and I realized Jonathan was Jonathan Teo, the CEO, which neither of them had ever mentioned that he was the CEO. They just said, hey, Jonathan's available. Now, the Teo family is extremely private and extremely successful in business. In fact, I don't know that you'll even find pictures of Jonathan and hardly any references to him on the Myria site. The Teo family runs one of the largest telecoms in Australia, and they have an incredible track record of business success. And on that call, I realized why my friend thought so highly of Myria. There are some tokenomics reasons why the price is still falling now, and it's going to push into levels the token price should never be hitting, and yet it is. And let's talk exactly about that. Let's look at the price. So let's go over to Myria now, and what's happening is, like Gala, Myria has nodes available for purchase, and as each node sells, the price of nodes go up over time, getting marked higher and higher the more they sell. And when Gala nodes first launched, their nodes were like 5K each, and over time that price rose to over 300K per node, I believe. Now right now, Myria nodes are selling about 4,500, and with 21 nodes myself, I get about 1 million Myria per month. Now, because it's a bear market, And many early node buyers are selling their tokens as they get them to provide some liquidity for them, because most all of the things that they have are down further right now. They've been selling their tokens, and thus you see this price pressure pushing it down. Now, there's still lots of buying happening, and I still think this is an amazing price zone, but boy, that's a juicy price right there at 0.17 cents. Now, it could keep going lower, but at some point, this is going to totally rebound and go absolutely crazy from here. So it's hard to gauge the overall value of where this is at, other than looking at the fully diluted market cap. So the market cap right now is only 3 million, which is extremely low for a project that has this much potential. But realize that it's only so low because so few tokens are in circulation. So if we look at the fully diluted market cap, it gives us an idea that if all the tokens were in circulation, that the max price that this would be at, with all the tokens in circulation at the current price right now, be a market cap of 86 million. Okay, let's go over and compare that to Gala, which is a good competitor. Gala has a huge head start. Gala has a good team. But I think Myria is onboarding so many projects that Myria will be able to fight toe-to-toe with them. Maybe if they're lucky, surpass them. But even if they don't, let's look at the fully diluted market cap of Gala, even at these lows, because, Gala is in a bear market too. And do notice Gala was really, really cheap here. And Gala was one of the top gainers during the last bull run. And you see that right here. So it went from 0.025 cents all the way to 56 cents. Now it's pulled back to 2.6 cents, and its fully diluted market cap is 1.27 billion. We'll compare that to this. And so even if they just get half of where Gala's market cap is presently, that's still a really good return. Now, both Gala and Myria, when the coming rains come, and they will come, are going to take off tremendously. So you can look at where Gala's price is today and think, gosh, if Myria caught up to that or caught up to half of that, that would be a pretty good gain. But imagine when the bull market comes and Gala takes off too, and Myria does as well. Where could something like this go? It could do very, very well. Now, I've been following Myria's development, and they're one of the most exciting projects, in my opinion, in the blockchain space. And like Axie Infinity, they have created their own ETH Layer 2 to handle their transactions. And this Layer 2 is the Myria token itself. And they are onboarding games like crazy. Best way to view that is let's go to their website. And here we go. So they're doing a block royale that they're building with Myria Studios themselves. Some of these are by Myria Studios themselves, Metacart, MetaRush. And they have another one that I've actually done a demo on. But look at all these third-party developers that are all building on them. So Zone 9 Survival, we've got Dark Meta. And don't get me wrong, not all of these games are going to do well, and Myria doesn't need all of them to do well. It actually only needs one of them to do really well for Myria to do tremendous things. And my guess is more than one of them does really well. And just the number that keep getting added is crazy. Why? Because it's a top-level team, I'm telling you. In business, there's this principle called the law of the lid, which is the leader of the company sets the tone for how strong of individuals that company can attract, because a leader can't usually recruit for long somebody who's even farther developed than them. So it's really important that at the very top, the person is an incredible leader so that he can attract incredible leaders. And that's why I like it. Look at all these games, and this just keeps getting added to. It's crazy. Yeah. This one is likely going to be a monster, a total monster. All right, let's see. Some people like to buy high and hope it goes higher. I like to buy low. Now, I have nodes. I've actually been selling my tokens along here. I'm starting to get to the point that I don't want to sell them. It's reload up time because I knew the tokenomics would push the price down, and I've been saying that for weeks. It's starting to get to a price that I don't know if we're at the bottom. I don't know where we are, but I feel like this fully diluted market cap starts to be way into my green zone. The fully diluted market cap was double this, and I predicted it would get under 100 million, and at under 100 million it would get extremely attractive. Now, normally it wouldn't probably ever hit a price like this, but you take the crypto winter combined with the token selling pressure from the node holders, and that's what pushed it down to these unbelievable prices. And just like when the crypto market goes crazy, the pendulum swings too far to the upside. Things often in the crypto winter swing too far to the downside. Prices that things should never hit, and yet they do. All right. Dun, dun, dun. Let me just go here. All right, my number 3 pick, Cardano. Now, Ada is an old friend, and my friend Ada made me a millionaire in the last bull run. But like always happens, the pendulum always swings too far, and the price of Ada has swung so low again that makes it so attractive that when you also consider that it has one of the strongest and most loyal and committed communities in all of crypto, that's a strong positive. Now, many people are starting to say Cardano is dead. Well, thank you to those saying that, because that is exactly what I like to hear. Though when I hear that, I do always look deeper, because perhaps they're not just panic selling out of it, but actually see something very concerning. But looking deeper, I'm still very bullish on the long term of Cardano. And yes, the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission seems to be suing Cardano, saying that it is a security. And Cardano, along with almost every other major project. And when you look at historical prices, and you see that those amazing lows that we look at, and wish we could rewind time to buy at those lows, well, there is always some scare that drove the prices to those lows. And some scare that during that scare, many people will say, yep, Cardano won't survive this. And then it does. And then it thrives. And those who could look deeper and make solid guesses to whether it could survive, and then they're right, they do very, very well. So let's look at Cardano's price history, because it's very relevant. Now, Cardano made me a millionaire because at this time period, most people were saying Cardano was dead. And were they right? Oh, hell no. They were massively wrong. But this period here, Cardano is dead. It's never going to make it. A lot of the same stuff I actually hear said about the Ecomi token now. But Cardano's dead. There was some lawsuit. They had to sue the founder of the Cardano, or the main guy at the Cardano Foundation, because he wasn't doing much, and he was, getting paid a lot in the Cardano Foundation and wasn't doing very much. And so they had to sue him to get him out. And it was just a mess. And there was massive, massive delays. Cardano still didn't have his testnet live, and they were 3 years beyond schedule, and all these reasons why people said Cardano will never happen. They called it Cardaleno. They called it vaporware. And I listened to that FUD, and I took it in, and I then looked deeper, and I was like, that FUD is short-sighted. They don't see Cardano still on track. They're not out of money. So they're not going out of business. They're just delayed. In fact, they took the slow road to building so that they could build it right. And I actually agree with that approach, even though it's frustrating how long it's taking. Well, thank you, everyone, for all the FUD, because I'm going to buy like crazy. Now, where are we now? Well, these amazing lows, as people have been FUDding it, and then the US SEC attacked it, and it dropped to this low. And you see it just wicked down really quick. But truthfully, this is a higher low if you don't count this little blip here. And there's a strong chance Cardano's bottom. Now, if it goes cheaper, great. I mean, that's amazing. But Cardano is, in my opinion, here to stay. Its market cap isn't totally small like it used to be. I mean, I was buying Cardano when its market cap was 300 and 400 and 500 million. And of course, its market cap now is, where is it? Circulating supply. The fully diluted market cap is 13 billion. And the current market cap overall is just 10 billion. Cool. This is something that I think a lot of these third generation blockchains that do extremely well, and I really feel like Cardano is leading that pack, that they will go to market caps in the hundreds of billions, and then eventually they will break the $1 trillion market cap. And so, though I don't usually invest in these high market cap projects, Cardano is the only blue chip that I own because it's got such strong potential for a blue chip to still do some pretty incredible numbers. All right, let me catch up on chats. Edson says, get it, Rain. Caro63 says, Illuvium, let's go. Another Illuvium fan. I think Illuvium's going to be a really, really solid project. Do you think Freeway token will recover, buyback for supercharged, get paid, and get our money back? It is questionable at this point. I hope so. I don't know. Most projects that have some blips like Freeway token had never recovered. They've actually done more to recover than usually you see. It's totally in unknown territory. I think the team is working extremely hard to do the right thing, and I love to see that. Did H-Bar make the list? You will have to see. Okay, some good picks here. H-Bar, Cardano, Polygon, Phantom, Bitcoin, Avalanche, Gala, Sandbox. I don't disagree with any of those at all. I like all of them. In fact, they're all projects I would put in the probably going to make it long-term category. They're not necessarily all the picks from this. I'm looking at ones that I feel have the craziest potential returns, though all of these are really good projects that will probably be around in at least the next 10 years, if not for longer. Can't move my Gala due to these gas fees. I know, right? Yeah, you better move Gala if you have it on Coinbase. Omi has got to be on the list. Well, we'll have to find out. Let's move on to my number 2 pick. If you caught the live stream last night with the real Randy Chavez, you know that Omi is one of my top picks at these prices. I'm price sensitive, meaning I like to buy low so I can sell high. And if I absolutely love a project, but the price is really high, I'm not going to be covering it much on the channel because, well, shoot, you missed the chance to buy it when it was low. Like one of the projects I really like is Render. I don't spend a lot of time covering Render now. I covered it before when it was dirt cheap. And now it's like 8x from there. So it's not like it's like really expensive. It's just 8x more expensive. And I like things when their price is low. So let's look at this chart for Ecomi and let's see if its price is low. Well, yeah. In fact, for many people, this chart looks very, very, very scary. And they cannot take buying a chart like this. Now, Paul, who joins us on the channel, Paul has a very different mechanism. So Paul is a very solid investor, and he buys during different periods. So he also doesn't buy during this time period, but for different reasons than many who are new to the crypto space. Paul trades across pretty much all the different markets, and so he's just looking for the sweet spots of taking high percentage returns. I don't recommend most people get into trading because Paul's been doing it for 30 years, and most people who do trading on short-term periods actually lose money and don't make it. It's very, very hard. Why I like this idea of swing trading and using some technical analysis to help you make buys at good prices and then hold them for a long term is it's something that most people can do. In fact, you probably heard Dr. of Stuff share the research from Fidelity that their very best investors over the last period of time were their dead investors. What? How are their dead investors the very best investors? Because they were dead, they weren't trading, and they were just holding because they couldn't sell because they were no longer on this earth. And it just shows that buying and holding good projects is a far better strategy for most than actively trading. Now, there's a few exceptional people out there that can actively trade and make money at it, but let me stress, there's just a few. Most people can make money by buying, researching, finding solid projects, and then just holding them for longer periods of time, especially when they're buying when everybody is running away from the crypto market and not to it. Why? Well, so you can buy low, because when everyone's running to the crypto market, is the price really low anymore? No, it's way high. That's when you start selling. When you buy is when everybody else is saying, crypto's dead. Oh my gosh, that's terrible. Oh, why crypto? Like, I was at the gym the other day. I ran into a guy and he had an NFT shirt on. I was like, hey, cool. Are you into crypto? He's like, nah, I'm done with that stuff. It's stupid. It's, no, I moved on to real estate. And I was like, oh, bro, okay, real estate is at its top and starting to climb down. Maybe if massive inflation happens, real estate will continue to go up. It'll actually decrease in value, just increase in the dollar cost. It's just the dollar will, be worth a lot less. And so it's a bad time to be getting into real estate. So he got into NFTs and crypto, apparently at the top, left because, well, it's down. And then he's running into real estate at the top, and he's doing it all backwards. It's really this simple. I like to buy low so that I can sell high. And some in crypto like to chase high prices, hoping that they'll go even higher. You never, ever, ever get 100x gains that way. If you are lucky, you will get a double or a triple and be smart enough to sell before it reverses on you. Bahrain. What if OMI goes down even more from here? Well, hell, that would be amazing. I hope it goes down more. I don't think it will, but I hope it does. Please stay down, OMI, for at least the next 6 months, because I would like to accumulate a lot more, especially at these prices. I mean, these prices are amazing. All right. That wraps up my number 2 pick. Let me catch up on these. Edson says ADA, OMI, Gala, Render, DPR. I'm trying to think DPR. I'm not thinking which one that is. Yeah, but those are solid picks. And Render, I like. Don't get me wrong. Render, if they're successful, will probably help change the world. I just liked it a lot better when it was like 1/7 the price or 1/8 the price it is now. It's on a little bit of a retracement. So for those that really want it, it's a little too hyped right now for me. It's pumped up some and people talking about it. I like to buy things when everybody's running from them, but yet my research shows, why the hell are they running like crazy? This is more substantive. In fact, keep running so that I can buy. And that was about 7-8 months ago with Render. All right. Rain, check out Dega, first multi-chain ISPO. Interesting. I have heard a little bit about it. I'm already in on it with Cardano. You have to PM me some more information on it, and I'll look into it. Sounds interesting. You guys pretty sure it's bumper, huh? All right. My number 1 pick is one that makes me lose sleep. I was an early investor in Ecomi at their pre-sale. I bought Axie Infinity Land the week it dropped. What each of them were proposing was earth-shattering if they could just get their idea into adoption. And it's not clear in the early days if that's going to happen. Did you know that OMI was the number 1 gainer the last bull run? Did you know that Axie's token was number 2? Their land that I bought did a 3,000x return from where I bought it to the top, and I didn't even buy it at the bottom. Bumper, I see lining up things. Their mainnet, it's not live yet. But if they can do what their testing says it can do, then it is going to change not just DeFi, but this will revolutionize finance across the world. It will revolutionize the options trading desks in New York, in London, in Hong Kong. It's going to be a really big deal if it does what they're hoping and what their research says it can do. But we don't yet know. It's early, just like we didn't know Vivi would have their app. And if you had bought OMI tokens way before then, just kind of hoping it would come together, great. We didn't know Axie Infinity for sure would be successful. In fact, there was a couple points I was really, really worried. So you're thinking, well, that's great, Rain, that amazing potential, but how do we know it's going to do that? Well, we don't. We just don't. That's where the risk is in investing. Now, what does Bumper do? Okay, it replaces needing options to protect your positions from downside risks. You may be thinking, well, Rain, I don't use options to protect my downside risk. That's a great point. You probably don't. Number one, they aren't easily available in crypto, though they are available. And number two, they take a lot of sophistication to use properly, and the average person doesn't use them. Bumper makes it easier and cheaper to protect your downside risk than the markets have ever seen before. And so I do think more regular people will protect their downside than historically they have. But the massive users of this, in addition to that, will probably be institutions, because they have a fiduciary responsibility to their investors to protect their downside risks. And because smart contracts have made it possible to do things that were never done before, and Bumper realized how it could be used for a more efficient system than options, well, I'll give you my best shot explaining what Bumper can do. But the very best thing you can do is search through my channel for videos with the Bumper CEO, Jonathan Descartes-Ray. Just search Bumper on my channel, and you'll see I've done several interviews with him. He explains it elegantly and in a much, much more simple way. So here's what Bumper does. Say Bitcoin hits $65,000 and you're concerned that, well, it might still go up, and you want to protect that in case it keeps going up, or you want to protect your position in case it reverses, but you want to explore further upside, and you're just not sure how it's going to play out. So you can actually take your Bitcoin and you can deposit it into a smart contract, or you will be able to deposit it into a smart contract and protect it at, say, the $60,000 price level. So what happens is, if Bitcoin then falls down below $60,000, it'll immediately swap that Bitcoin into a stable coin pegged, at 60,000 of value. And if Bitcoin continues to fall, you can pull out that 60,000 anytime you want, or you can leave it there, because sometimes things wick down and then they keep going up. And if it goes back up, once it hits the 60,000 price, they'll swap it back into Bitcoin so that it can take the ride up as Bitcoin. And so instead of using stop losses where you get stopped out, instead of using options to hedge your risk, it's just a better way to protect your downside risk while exploring further upside. And their modeling has shown that the premium that you pay to protect your downside risk is far cheaper than using options. On the flip side, those that are providing the hedge against the risk, their returns are higher too. So it'll be very attractive for those wanting to make good returns in the long term on their money that's sitting there, and for those wanting to protect their downside positions. So if this works, and it's still an if, where could it go from here? Well, that's what causes me to lose sleep. So let's go over to Bumper. Okay, so their market cap right now is at 6 million. It's not as cheap as it was back in December when I was like, Animal Concerts, Bumper, some other ones that were at lows. I was like, these lows are amazing. Spores went 10x from that December. And I was telling some of our private Patreon members who were asking me privately what my top 5 picks were. And Bumper was in there. Now, it's not as cheap as it was. It's 3x over that. But notice this nice rounding pattern here. And actually, one of our Rainmaker family members posted in our private Discord that they had reached out to the team to find out about token unlocks. And it seems from what we read there that probably the team's already received all their tokens. And so the team has all their tokens vested. The only remaining tokens still not out there is the tokens that will be used for the ecosystem or rewards for people using the protocol. Well, that's cool. So team members, they could have already dumped on our heads if they were going to. And yet you see this nice rounded bottom like this that's heading up. Now, I don't love that it's 3x over what its previous price is, almost 4x, but I don't know that these prices will ever be available again. And when I look over what the market cap is right now, it's at 8 million with the fully diluted cap at 20 million. Now, and this is an if, they do what they are trying to do and people start using it, and then institutional investors grab onto it, where could the market cap of a project like this go? That's the question I always ask myself. That's why I was interested in Axie Infinity. That's why I was interested in Nakomi in the early days before they had anything, because I knew that potential upside was good, although it was unclear if they would hit that. In those cases, they absolutely did hit what they could do, and actually what their potential upside was far exceeded what I imagined in the early days could even happen. Now, what could Bumper do? Well, this market cap could be, instead of 6 million, could be 6 billion. If it gets bigger adoption, it could be 60 billion. And do you realize if this went from 6 million to 6 billion, that is 1,000x from here. If they hit 60 billion, of course, more tokens would come into circulation. But let's say more tokens didn't come into circulation, so it keeps the numbers nice and easy. That would be a 10,000x. Will it hit that? I don't know. I like everything I read. I read through their very complicated paper on their analysis of their testing, and I spent like 2 days reading it because there was so much technical stuff in there. It was, wow, a difficult read, but really exciting what their analysis has shown as they back tested everything. And so I think they're onto something. I think this is going to work out. And if it does, it's going to be absolutely massive. And it will be one of the biggest gainers in the coming market. And that's why I like it. Now, would I go all in on Bumper? No way. No way. The risk that it doesn't hit it, even if it's got a 50% chance that it hits it, that 50% chance of not hitting is just too high to go all in. I don't go all in on anything anyway. So I use diversity. I find several projects I like, and I use diversity because you never know what can happen to a project. Something could come out of the blue and derail them, like XRP got derailed by the US SEC. XRP should have done far, far better. And the people that went all in on XRP, and I believe XRP has a great future, it just really, really neutered what it could do the last bull market, and nobody could have seen that coming. And so I don't go all in on anything, but Bumper is absolutely my number one pick. Its prices are tremendous. I bought in the early days at the pre-sale, and I think my pre-sale price was supposed to be 60 cents. I think Bumper gave us a discount from them. It ended up being cheaper. And I don't regret doing that because I believe in its long term. Now, obviously, had I known that it was going to go this low, I would have just waited to load up a lot more. But I've continued to accumulate at these levels, and I'm really excited about the future of this. S3YU says Bumper could be so unbelievably big in the future. I'm very hyped about it. It absolutely could. Web Zombies says Wanchain and Zoo. In fact, I'm probably on the gaming channel going to do Zoo Racers in the coming weeks. Omi, I think Omi's going to mint some massive millionaires. Bumper, if it hits, is going to mint some massive wealth. For even those that had small bags of it, it will, if it does what I think it'll do, it'll massively change some numbers for them. All right, what were my runners up that didn't quite make it? Well, I could only cover 5. And so there's a number of them, right? I'm very big on a lot of projects, but let me just go to some few that were close contention. One is the Senate and the CEDAS tokens. This is also a gaming project that the market cap has absolutely got punished in this bear market, all the way down to 2 million. You see that previously the tokens were at like $5 ever so shortly, and it's all the way down to 3 cents. I love it. They're still working hard. They actually released a game called Zena that's actually pretty cool for a blockchain game that you can play and you can earn little rewards every day. And they're working on a bigger space game, so they're releasing some games in the meantime so that the community has something to play. And I feel like they've done a good job at this. I met the CEO when I was at NFT NYC last year, and we were in some Telegram chats and agreed to meet up. And I really liked him a lot. And I feel like he's young, but he has a very strong vision. The Axie Infinity team was extraordinarily young, and yet Axie became one of the top 10 played games in the whole world at one point. So he's not even as young as the Axie Infinity team was, but he's young and very dynamic, very smart. He is sharp as attack. So I'm a big believer in where that can go. This one comes from the community. A bunch of community members have suggested this on Wednesdays with Paul, and that's Jasmy Coin. And what's interesting about Jasmy Coin is, I had heard, some people with Sony are associated with it, but it's not just some people at Sony. It's some of the top executives left Sony to make an Internet of Things project that can make things interoperable. Do you realize that in the future, probably your refrigerator, your TV, and other things are all going to interact with the blockchain? And we call that the Internet of Things. And so it was a really big narrative in 2017 in that bull run, a little bit of a run with the other stuff in March of 2021. But it is a big deal, the Internet of Things and the interoperability there. And so I feel like the team behind Jasmy have all the market connections. Sony, absolutely one of the biggest players in televisions and appliances and sound systems, to make an Internet of Things project. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of that. Edson says, Jasmy sounds like Helium node token. Kind of. But yes, we don't hear a lot about it because a lot of their stuff, it can translate to English, but I mean, they're out of Japan, right? And so like you can't watch a lot of Ask Me Anything interviews with them. But let's see, former president and COO of Sony Corporation. Holy smokes, right? And yet, let's look at their market cap is all the way down to, now it's down to 203 million. So this is the type of project that can hit a market cap in the tens of billions, if not maybe even more than that, in a bull run. Imagine if they make Sony, all of the Sony projects, interoperable with a blockchain that can add some value. It's got to be something that adds value. Maybe there's some kind of screen on, or on your Sony TV, you can play some games directly, or you can get some rewards. I wish I knew more about specifically what they were working on, but one of the things I look at is the team strong enough to carry off something big? It doesn't get much stronger than the former president of Sony. All right. What else was on my list? Well, animal concerts. Now, as I was planning this out, the CEO, Colin Fitzpatrick, had taken CEO of Animal Concerts off his profile, and I hadn't heard back from him what that was about. But it seems like, because if he was leaving the project, well, obviously I would want to know, like, what the hell happened. He did get back to me and said he had some major surgery coming up for the next few weeks. And so, so it seems like everything's well. The price is really, really cheap. It has a market cap of 0. It's not really 0. They just don't know what it is, but its fully diluted market cap is $2.5 million, which means its actual market cap is probably somewhere around 250,000 to 700,000, depending on how many tokens are in circulation. And so it is really cheap. It's not as cheap as when I actually called it in December that was interested. And most people don't buy on charts that look like this. I do if I like the team behind it. And it's right back to near those prices. So if this is interesting to you and you do your own research and find that you like what Animal Concerts is and are willing to take a risk, it's at a really, really cheap price. All right. Well, that was a lot of fun. Stay tuned. Friday, we will be doing a live stream tomorrow. We will have our WanChain giveaway. WanChain has been good to us, and we have a strategic relationship with WanChain. And they give us WAN for giveaways on our Friday live streams. Real quick, for those that like good prices, WanChain, I could have considered a runner-up as well in this. And they're at an extremely attractive price at this 18 cents. They, in the past, hit all the way up to $9. In the last bear market, like DeFi kind of hit at the time that we had a DeFi summer when WanChain was still building and they didn't have their cross-chain stuff out yet. So it didn't really benefit from that DeFi summer. In the full run of 2021, it did go up to $2.40. So about a 12x from here. In fact, over a 12x from here. And it's pulled back nicely to a really good pickup with a market cap of 36 million. Now, what they have is a bridging system that is set up in a way that you don't have to just trust that it won't be, that bad actors won't steal all the funds from it. So they call this a trustless system. And what they call ones where you have to trust that nobody will steal the money and run away with it, that's actually called a trusted system. So actually the verbiage is almost backwards, because in a trusted system, it actually requires more faith in the people. In a trustless system, you don't have to have faith in the people. The incentives are set up such so that you don't have to, trust isn't even needed, because the incentives would be misaligned for any of the node validators and stuff to compromise the network, or for the node validators to take the funds and run it. Like Bitcoin is a trustless system. WanChain has a trustless bridging system, some of the best technology, and they continue to add all the right networks. And I think WanChain is going to be a really, really big deal in the future. In fact, recently USDC has been talking a lot about them, and WanChain's technology can do a lot for the DeFi ecosystem. And people haven't realized it yet, and that's frequently the case. In fact, isn't that the case on every single project I've been talking about today? That the majority of people are sleeping on these right now, and that's what I love. How do you think I was able to get Axie Infinity so cheap? How do you think I was able to get Cardano so cheap? It wasn't magic. It was just research combined with everybody else panic selling and me buying. And we're in that type of market. If you can tell, I'm pretty damn excited the last couple of weeks, because this is the type of thing where I see the rebound, it's in sight, and yet prices are still so low because so many people don't see it. And this is the most exciting time in crypto that most people pass up on. Now, something that's even more thrilling in crypto is when the runs massively happen, but only if you use that time like now, to be stocking up. Because the runs that happen later are not near as thrilling when you didn't stock up on the great projects when they were low. It actually causes you to FOMO in, and then you start acting emotionally. And acting emotionally usually leads to bad things in crypto. It just is the way it is. S3YU says, see you tomorrow, Rain and Rainmakers. Thanks for today's stream. Web Zombie says, the most secure bridges in the space, fast and low transaction fees, will connect all the top blockchains. Exactly. That's WanChain. All right, everyone. Let's see. Well, the crypto market, it's still somewhat slow right now, though Bitcoin is just taking off, and probably the crypto market has bottomed. Good decisions made during these times and these bottoms lead to life-changing ones when the rains come. And the rains will come again. And projects that have planted their seeds solidly will flourish. And those of you who have found those gems, invested in them, and been patient with those projects, your portfolios will run like you have never seen before. This wrap is for all of you to reinforce the principles I share that make all the difference in higher returns. Thanks so much.
Came into the space chasing all of the gains, chasing the pumps and all of the hype trains. But like in life, shit, buy before you could. Was told to buy when it was pouring like a rainmaker should. I buy when it's down, don't chase the boats that I missed. Cause I always made the time in mind. I take the one out cause I'm patient like that. And I'll wait for the right time. I sell when it's high, I buy when it's low. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm just a rainmaker running the show. Calculated investments, I don't leave with my heart. The principles are simple, they're leaving a mark. Buy when it's boring, just gotta be smart. I sell when it's hype, like all the channels they pump it. That's when I was selling, go parabolic and dump it. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm a rainmaker, making my own start. I'm with the future, learning the past. Makes the time fly by, years going so fast. The game plan is mine, I'll own it now. When I reach the top, haters asking me how. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love. And I follow what I learn, not relying on luck. Time is never better, the time like the present. This next 5 years is a gift and it's feeling like heaven. I'm committed to learn, studying to know that nothing comes easy, but with knowledge the game show. Sticking out this wrong, cause soon will come a bear market. Learning and growing, and when it's slow will be the target. They say it's come out, Bitcoin is dead. The massive decreases can get to your head. Sticking around, the time is better. Strong like that, I'll let the others be fretters. 2 years time, the ball will bring back the gains. That makes it worth the effort, cause here comes the rain. So let's go rainmakers, let's make it all happen. Let go with the hate, let the haters be crafting. I'm here for 5 years, let's do this together. The time is right, the time could be better. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm a rainmaker, making my own start. I'm with the future, learning the past. Makes the time fly by, years going so fast. The game plan is mine, I'll own it now. When I reach the top, haters asking me how. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love. And I follow what I learn, not relying on luck. Haters be hating, the time to slow down. Addressing what they say when I'm wearing my crown. They're chasing green candles like someone who was new. I got a vision that was bigger, helping me to push through. I'm still human and sometimes it is rough, and that's what makes me special, simply I stay tough. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love. And I follow what I learn, not relying on luck.